Hi, Scorpio Sun and Rising. Welcome to your November 2021 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, this is Scorpio season as we begin November, actually, in the final week of October as well, and even a little bit before that. And so, you are celebrating your birthdays, a lot of you. Happy birthday to all Scorpios. And there's a lot of stuff happening in Scorpio. So um, obviously the sun is in Scorpio as we begin the month. On the 4th, we have a new moon at 12 degrees of Scorpio. So that's when the sun and the moon form a conjunction. And so this is a time where you can, whether you believe in the power of the new moon or not, you can use that symbolically as the time to really think of the kind of goals that you would like to achieve or the things you would like to attract into your reality, however you'd like to view it, and see what kind of things are important to you, because every year it can be different. And there is that feeling of forward movement because we have in November, and actually coming from October, all of the planets, most of the planets, not all of them, going direct. We had 4 planets go direct in October. And actually, as I am recording this, there still are several that have to go direct. So when that happens, you can feel a lot of forward movement. I think that Neptune is going to go direct at the beginning of December, and then Uranus maybe in January. I'm not 100% on that, but I know that those are the two that haven't. And those are outer planets. So it's not so much that they affect us directly, but we do like to see where they are in the chart, because that could definitely have some kind of impact in that sense. And, speaking about Neptune retrograding and almost being done with this retrograde, Neptune retrogrades quite a bit each year. It's like for months at a time. And when it's retrograding, there is a sense sometimes of disillusionment, of having the rose-colored glasses uh, whacked off your head, and you're having to face something, face an unpleasant truth, an unvarnished truth about life, because Neptune is very, Neptune specializes in illusion. So for you, this has been occurring in your 5th house of romance and also creativity. But when I say romance, yes, it could be somebody that you specifically have been dating, but love itself. And, an example would be if you have always thought of yourself as somebody who was very, I would say this could be true for a lot of Scorpios, very able to be by yourself and self-sufficient and that kind of thing. And some Scorpios probably who've had negative experience with love probably said, you know what, I don't need this. I can be happy by myself. And then you realize that you really are afraid, that you really want love, but you have felt heartbroken over a particular relationship or just the nature of the beast, or if you are an artist and you feel like, and this could be an illusion, in its own right, but you feel like you're not as good as you thought you were. And just having that self-doubt. Maybe there are things that you need to improve upon in that area or in your love life, the way that you interact with the other person. But this is going to be the last month when you're gonna have this kind of more. It's not so much cynicism as just that. I don't even know how you would characterize that emotion. Disillusionment can lead to, I don't know if it's sadness, but a sense of something maybe not being possible. And I think that your idealism will return in December in this area of life. But other than that, we have these planets going forward and Mercury. Oh, well, here's the thing. So the next day after that new moon in Scorpio, we have another busy day because Venus goes from Sagittarius, which it has been in your second house of earned income. So that should attract money to you. And this is coming from October, Scorpio. But now it's going from Sag to Capricorn, and that's your third house. Venus in the third house can benefit you as it pertains to if you have been wanting to like take any kind of training, but you didn't have the funds or you didn't feel like you should do it. Like, how sometimes you don't feel like it's the right time to spend money on something, even if you have the money. Sometimes we just feel that the timing is off. And now you may feel like the timing is right to invest in yourself through getting some kind of certificate or something where you can gain a skill, and it doesn't have to necessarily take 4 years like if you went to college or something like that. And the other thing too is that the third house is your siblings. So your relationship with your siblings can be very good. Maybe there is some kind of thing because this is the holiday season. In the United States, we have Thanksgiving towards the end of November, and that's the official kickoff of like a month long of holiday, actually more than a month if you count New Year's. So like 5 weeks worth of different parties for people who do things like that. And so you may be like having a lot of congeniality happen with siblings. And maybe in the past it hasn't been so rosy. And now you're kind of like harmonizing with them. Or this could also include any cousins. And sometimes some people, their cousins are like their siblings because they were raised with them, or they're around the same age or something like that. These are extended family members. Your aunts and uncles can fit into this category. They may give you money. Venus in a house can also mean money. So if you're a writer, this can be a lucrative time. Or like the third house can also be social media. And if you're looking for love, you may actually go and do online dating, some kind of a site for that kind of thing. I don't know. So this is what's happening the next, on the 5th. And then on the same day, Mercury goes into your sign. And for the collective, to have these planets in Scorpio is very interesting because Scorpio is like the bearer, I don't know, is that the right word, of secrets. This is a very secretive placement for Mercury, but I think it can be like I don't know if you'd say a double-edged sword. I think it can go both ways. it can be perhaps revealing secrets. And I think that's really how it's going to go, just based on other types of people who are like energy readers or healers that make videos. I've listened to some of their energy updates, and they have spoken about October and November as being very important months for secrets coming out that have been kept from the public. So this makes sense when I think about Mercury going into Scorpio. If we think about Libra, and Libra being a sign of justice and the fairness, then that also, both of these signs have their own kind of justice. And I kind of realized this not too long ago, because I was talking about and I mentioned this pretty regularly about Scorpio and vengefulness, but I also have witnessed it with Aries, and I was beginning to think, hey, maybe it's not Pluto that is influencing Scorpio in this way, but Mars, and Mars is the ruler of Aries, and that warrior energy. Maybe it is the warrior energy that wants to make things right. So I have told people who are Sun in Scorpio that there's always that chance that you can have inner planets, and a lot of times that is true, that you're going to have inner planets in Libra. And so fairness can be sometimes almost an obsession, because that idea that something is imbalanced, that it's not right. And I would say the same thing to a Libra person, that they might have inner planets in Scorpio, and then they would have that tendency to want to see that other person has to deal with some kind of blowback for what they've done. And so anyway, and what I always say in those situations is that, first of all, we don't really know the full extent of the situation, the history behind anything that happens to us or that happens to somebody else, and there might be a reason that something has to happen. And we can just look at the surface of it and say, oh, that's unfair, but we don't really know if it truly is. It might be something that was meant to be for certain reasons. And yes, I could I could say, like, even karmically, but not as punishment, but as part of the soul seeking to understand itself and its actions. And so sometimes we might see things in a simplistic way. And so I don't encourage people to look at things like that, but you may feel that you're not doing it to be vengeful, but to be fair. And this is what is going to, I think, come up in both October and November. The idea of, is somebody going to get away with something? Whether it's, a public figure, a situation that has been dealt with, like you could say, like corporations and all those different entities that, play a part in trying to assert authority. Are they going to be able to get away with what they've been doing? Government, heads of government, and things like that. So on a personal level, you may, since you are a Scorpio, you may feel that you are in your own element, I guess you would call it, because when Mercury is in your own sign, it's going to be consistent with who you are and what you represent. So you can, this is in your first house, so this allows you to present yourself in a way that is very consistent with what you stand for. And that is particularly helpful when somebody is interviewing for a position and you're asked those stupid questions about, what what is your worst habit, or what is your, you know, those gotcha questions that they always ask you. But you will be able to come up with a great one, especially having Mercury in Scorpio, because you can read people like a book and you can know exactly what they want to hear. But with people that have, people who are Scorpios, that, there's always that little part of Scorpio that it doesn't even give a damn, that you're going to be yourself come hell or high water. On the 19th, there's a lunar eclipse at 27 degrees of Taurus. So now we begin the eclipse season as it pertains to the sign that is opposing you. And this is very exciting, Scorpio, because you are part of this. Since this is your opposite sign, it will form an opposition to your sun at 27, Scorpio. And so this is the polarity between the first and the seventh houses. And so this is emphasizing the other or the partner. And if you have a relationship, and this, it can be any one-on-one relationship, but since this is a marriage house or the commitment house, we typically will say it will be a significant other. And if you have a relationship with somebody that is quite rocky, then, and if you have been having a hard time letting go, this may be grace from the universe to allow you to let go, to not cling to something that is dead. The relationship may have died a long time ago and you have for some reason not been able to let go, and this will allow you to. Now, this does not mean that everybody who has a relationship is going to experience it breaking up at this time. No, not at all. It will, these houses, the first and the seventh house, are going to see some kind of trigger to them. That is for sure. And that may mean that you are changing, because the sun is in the first house, opposing that seventh, and it may be a time when you honor yourself, when you realize that it's like letting go, because Scorpio is one of those signs, kind of like Cancer in a lot of ways, or even your opposite sign, Taurus, of just like holding on to that person. But with Scorpio, it's complicated because there is a lack of trust at the same time. Scorpios may have come from past trauma, and it's very hard for people that have been through a lot to just blindly trust people, because they don't want to feel the way that they felt when something bad happened to them, when they lost. Death is a big theme with Scorpio. When you lost somebody that you cared about and you lost them forever. And, I don't believe you ever lose anybody forever, but at least on the physical level. And that is something that, you can't just write that away or just kind of wave it off and like saying, oh, well, you'll see them again someday. That doesn't matter. You want to see them now. And that is super duper traumatic. So not wanting to experience abandonment, death, that makes sense. But maybe you have been too enmeshed with a partner, and it's time for you to let go of that. Uranus is in that seventh house as well. It's not going to form a conjunction with this eclipse because it's at an earlier degree of Taurus, but it's still in that same house. So you're already working with this energy that is becoming more and more desiring of freedom. And for Scorpio, this is kind of a new way of looking at committed partnership, because like your opposite sign Taurus, you do tend to be very possessive of a person that you love. Now, you may not, be like Taurus, which is overtly and unabashedly possessive. You may be more, you may play it more cool because your ego doesn't want the other person to think that, you are like gonna like insecure. You want to come across as being like above it all, but still you may really feel that way. And so this can be a very powerful time looking at the issue of self versus the other. And next year in May, you're going to have an eclipse in your sign, a lunar eclipse. So, and you're going to have solar eclipses too, but a solar eclipse, but that's next year. On the 21st, the sun goes into Sagittarius, and this is this house, the second house, and that it's nice to have planets in the second, transiting the second house, because first of all, this is Taurus's domain and it's Earth, and it's very practical, but it's also connected to money, cha-ching, so there's always that potential for a greater earning power. And Venus is the ruler of the second house, so that sense of attracting abundance to you is featured. And with the sun, there's a creative element of like, how can you do this? How can you, increase your finances and things like that? And you will have a solar eclipse here in December, in early December. So that could end the year with a nice little, kind of a trigger for more money coming in. On the 24th, Mercury goes into Sag as well in that second house. And Mercury, your mind is on your money. You might be crunching the numbers. It's the end of the year. It's the holiday season. Making a budget, seeing how much you're going to spend for the holidays. But perhaps because you want to celebrate some of your abundance with family and friends or what have you. This can also be just kind of brainstorming, thinking of new ways to make money. And yeah. So it's a very eventful month, and I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, if you'd like to look at the year ahead, but also have a natal chart interpretation, I do have a double reading for a special price called the Deep Dive Reading, perfect for Scorpios because it's, I'm kind of an honorary Scorpio. In Vedic astrology, I'm a Scorpio, and I have my sun in the 8th house, in the house that you rule. I have the moon in conjunction with Pluto. So that's like having the moon in Scorpio. So I didn't even realize this until not so long ago. I'm like, wow, I got a lot of Scorpio kind of energy. And so anyway, you can see what I have, the different types of readings at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.